10 years. That's how long Americans have been living under the Trump circus. 10 years of insults, lies, and late-night tweet storms. He attacked Obama, sparked a mob that stormed his own capital, lost an election, and somehow came back for more.
And Canada stayed quiet, watching from the north with our mouths wide open and our timmies spilling, because it wasn't our country.
Well, until Trump made it our problem.
He insulted our prime minister, threatened our economy, called us freeloaders, and demanded we become the 51st state.
And that's when Canadians did something that Democrats never quite managed to pull off. We shut him down.
Canada didn't fight Trump with stunt politics or cable news brawls. We fought with democracy, unity, and the quiet power of people who don't buy Made in America madness.
The U.S. used to be a global example. Then it became a gold-plated warning.
It's been a decade of chaos. Lies turned into laws, conspiracies turned into campaigns, and justice turned into props.
And every country watched. We hoped it would burn out. Instead, it metastasized and spilled across borders.
We saw it creeping north, too. Imported outrage, American dark money, politicians testing own the libs soundbites.
From convoy copycats to alt-right influencers suddenly discovering Alberta. Huh, bless their hearts, they think it's Texas.
And for a while, we all made excuses. Oh, relax, that's American money, it's American media, it's American drama. They'll keep the crazy contained, and Trump would be gone soon anyway, and we'd all move on.
And for a while, we did, actually. Biden came in, the world exhaled, and we had 4 years of something that almost felt normal.
Until Trump 2.0 rolled back into town, louder, angrier, and dragging the chaos right back across the border. Yep, that's when things got nasty.
The tariffs, the threats, the 51st state nonsense. It wasn't politics anymore, it was blackmail with a flag on it.
And let's not forget the insults. He called Canada a socialist regime that's feeding off America. He called our Prime Minister Governor Trudeau, like we'd already joined the Team MAGA crowd.
Canadians may have been thawing a bit on Trudeau, true, but let's be clear here. Only we get to insult it.
Exactly. You can mock our weather, our bagged milk, hey, maybe even our ketchup chips. But you come for our leaders and our country? Well, that's it. Game on.
Nope, you don't poke a Canuck and expect a handshake. We may show up with a toque and a Timbit, but we hit back like it's overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep, Canadians are polite until we're not.
Here's the thing. America normalized dysfunction. Once it crossed the border, we told it to take off, eh?
While they were fighting over M&Ms being too sexy, we quietly proved democracy doesn't need a messiah. It just needs a few good neighbors. And then we settled the debate the Canadian way. Smarties are better anyway. End of story.
It all started like a late-night rant turned into a full-blown threat. Trump called us economic parasites, said we'd collapse without U.S. protection, and threatened to slap tariffs on our cars, lumber, and even started eyeing our water like it was up for grabs.
He declared economic war on his oldest ally, the country that shares his longest undefended border, the country that fuels his cars, builds his skyscrapers, and keeps the lights on.
The guy who couldn't finish a wall suddenly wanted to build trade barriers from sea to shining sea.
He said the U.S. didn't need Canada. He said we'd be nothing without them.
So, what do? We showed them. Let's see how long you can survive without Canadian tourism dollars, Canadian potash, Canadian lumber, and the hydro keeping your lights on.
Overnight, the quietest revolution in modern history started. Not in Parliament, but in grocery stores, bars, and border towns.
We didn't march, we boycotted.
Americans called us economic parasites? Fine, we stopped feeding the host.
U.S. booze? Off the shelves. Bars pulled Jack Daniels and Jim Beam and started pouring 40 Creek. California wines? Gone. Even when some provinces put it back, people didn't bite. It gathered dust right on the basement shelves.
Florida oranges, they sat rotting on the racks. Idaho spuds got skipped for PEI potatoes. you know, the correct potato. And U.S. beef and pork, it took a backseat to Alberta Grade A and Ontario farms.
Even apps popped up overnight. Buy Canadian, Maple Scan, Canada, helping people scan barcodes to dodge Made in the USA.
Farmers markets exploded, craft breweries boomed, local tourism took off like a loon at sunrise.
And cross-border travel crashed harder than a moose on black ice. We just stopped going.
Canadian snowbirds canceled condos, families canceled theme parks, business trips turned virtual.
We shut down their tourism, canceled their spirits, literally and figuratively, and reminded the world that you don't insult a country that supplies your power, your minerals, and your maple syrup.
And while Trump was swinging at Ottawa, a few Canadian copycats picked up his pom-poms. From Danielle Smith to Pierre Poilievre, Maple MAGA tried to take root. But Canadians saw the snow job. They recognized the con and said, no thanks.
Pierre Poilievre, Danielle Smith, and their Maple MAGA cousins started parroting Trump's talking points, attacking journalists, universities, and even public health like they were enemies of the state.
And they ranted about globalists while flying business class to Mar-a-Lago. They called Canadian media fake news right before hopping onto Fox News to talk about freedom.
Canada doesn't reward stunt outlets like Fox News. When Rebel News tried to crash the leaders' debates, they got bounced, forced their way in, then got bounced again. And politicians stopped playing along. Even Singh summed it up perfectly. You're not here to inform, you're here to inflame. Hard pass, people. Our debates have standards. Act like a heckler, and you're watching from the hallway.
The thing is, Canadians don't do cults. We do committees.
We don't swear allegiance to billionaires. We swear at them, politely, in both official languages.
So, while Trump was screaming about America first, PP was whining Axe the Taxed, and Smith was cozying up to right-wing podcasters at Mar-a-Lago. Canadians quietly answered, "This has gone too far, man."
And that's when something shifted. Canadians got political again. People were done watching from the sidelines.
Social media blew up. When people parroted MAGA talking points, Canadians didn't argue, they educated.
The boycott became a movement. The movement became momentum, and by the time the budget was announced, Maple MAGA began to melt right off the map.
Canadians watched Trump turn democracy into reality TV, and we decided we weren't auditioning for season 2.
The polls flipped overnight. Pierre Poilievre went from 20 points ahead to losing his own seat.
Canada looked at the circus and said, "No, we've seen this show before and it ends with indictments."
Instead, we chose calm over chaos and elected Mark Carney, a man who doesn't shout, doesn't tweet at 3 o'clock in the morning, and doesn't pose on gold furniture.
He's the first prime minister in a decade who can explain fiscal policy without using finger guns.
So while Trump was threatening tariffs, Carney was building trade routes, real ones.
He inked deals with the EU, Mercosur, and the UAE. He renewed partnerships with Mexico, Japan, and he smoothed relations with China and India.
Canada's exports to non-US markets hit record highs. For the first time, our future wasn't tied to whoever Trump was yelling at that morning.
When Trump bragged about energy dominance, Canada doubled down on reliable clean power, hydro, wind, and the critical minerals that make the transition run.
While the US kept rolling back climate rules, we leaned into selling the world clean tech and the inputs it needs.
Ottawa also put real money into the north, upgrading the Hudson Bay Railway and backing the Port of Churchill. So our Arctic Gateway isn't just a map line, it's a shipping option.
And we didn't wait on Washington either. Canada kept diversifying beyond the US, building out deals with Europe, the Gulf, and Indo-Pacific partners.
Meanwhile, the stuff America actually can't do without, we're still the backbone.
Yep, we're the largest supplier of US crude oil and a major source of electricity imports. We dominate US potash supply, and we're a key player in critical minerals.
So while the US argued with itself, we got on with it. Diversifying, digitizing, and yes, getting a little more independent every quarter.
And the irony? Even American economists started calling Canada the grown-up in the room.
The US media? Well, the one still functioning anyway. They admitted that Canada's economy was holding steady while theirs hit recession.
And the best part? Carney didn't do any of this alone. He did it with a minority government, cooperation, and a country that remembered how to work together.
People volunteered, voted, fact-checked, and refused to stay quiet. You could feel the shift. Canadians were coming together.
And then the floor crossing started. MPs who'd had enough of the MAGA mimicry chose country over cult.
Chris D'Entremont's defection cracked the dam. The rumor mill started spinning, and he was followed by Matt Genero. Who's next?
We don't know. But the tide turned. Maple MAGA started melting faster than April snow on the Trans-Canada.
Because this is the truth. Canada doesn't need chaos to feel powerful. We build, we vote, we argue, but we don't burn down the house. And when you come for our country, we come back stronger.
Yep. Canadians showed the world something powerful. You can fix democracy without breaking your neighbors.
We didn't build walls, we built coalitions. We didn't chant, we planned. And we didn't crown a savior, we elected a statesman.
So when he called us a socialist regime feeding off America, we just smiled, paid our bills, and powered his lights for another month.
It turns out socialism with a surplus beats capitalism with a coup any day.
Canada hasn't just survived the chaos, we're actually coming out stronger.
We're more united, more independent, and way less willing to take anyone's crap. Especially from a man who thinks NATO is a golf club.
We're one of the few countries that actually stood up to Trump, and that's exactly why he doesn't like us. Because you can't bully a country that knows who it is.
We are not his 51st state, we are not his pawn or his punchline. We're the neighbor who mows our own lawn, pays our own bills, and still shows up with a snowblower when the power goes out.
That's the thing about Canada. We help, but we don't bow.
And this time we're done playing polite. We've seen what happens when democracy sleeps.
So we're keeping our elbows up, our borders open, and our eyes wide.
We're proving that democracy doesn't just belong to the loudest voice, it belongs to the people who refuse to give it up.
And as long as Canadians keep showing up at the polls, online, in the streets, and yes, in the comments, this country's future is safe.
Don't mess with Canada because we're just getting started.
Because when you insult a Canuck, you don't just get an apology, you get a masterclass in democracy.
So if you liked this one, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who still thinks Canada's just polite.
And if you want to go deeper, join the A-Team right here on YouTube. Our members get behind-the-scenes posts and exclusive chats, and you help keep this channel going and keep it independent.
Plus, if you prefer the written word, our Substack Unfiltered North has the stories the algorithms can't handle.
And check out the merch, too. Keep Calm and Carney on mugs are back in stock, and yes, they're 100% tariff-free.
So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for standing up for Canada. And remember, democracy's a team sport.
See you next time.